You can finish that up. Good morning, VIPs. We got 3 peeps in the house. 3 peeps in the house. That's okay. Nobody can see you guys over there, so you're fine. Nobody ever wants to be seen in this, but that's okay. Maybe at the end, we'll just whip around and show you who's here. All right, so the stretching clinic, I've done it before. First time videoing it, so if you guys are on now and you do want to actually do it from home while we're doing this, you do need to warm up really quickly, okay? These guys just did like maybe 2 minutes of like jumping jacks, high knees, get blood pumping to the area. If you came out of a hot shower, it's cold today, so you don't want to just sit here and feel cold and then start stretching. All right, so a lot of these you guys have already seen, but I'm going to go through and make sure that everybody's doing them correctly and everybody feels them the right way and what they're actually stretching, and then I'm going to add some other ones in. So, all right, guys. So I'm going to start with the progression just like we do in boot camp, okay, and why. So come on down. Right, because I usually do pretty much the same progression, right? Hugging your knees into your chest. So you always want to grab behind the bottom of your thighs. You don't want to pull on the front of your shins because that'll stress out your knees. Okay, so, and you can also get further in if you pull it in, if you pull in behind the thigh. Now, if you want to add more stretch to it, then lift your head, try to get your head up between your knees. And you should feel a stretch behind the back of your neck, right? You're not going to hold it there all that long because, you know, it's kind of heavy holding your head up, but you will get a stretch in the back of your neck. And if you want to let go, and actually grab behind your head and then pull it in. I usually tell you not to tug on your neck, right? But if you don't have any neck injuries, now gently on the back and that bony part on the back of your head here, and just gently pull your chin to your chest with feeling more stretch. Feel it? So we never really get totally in this position. That stretches out the whole back of the neck and the upper back, your low back, and your hips. Now, bring your head and shoulders down, and just keep one knee, grab behind the bottom thigh, pull one knee in, and let the other leg just drop straight down. Okay, the other leg is on the floor, it's dropped straight down. And then, so the leg that's on the floor, that's the hip, the front of the hip, your hip flexors, right? You're stretching and opening that up. And then the knee that's into the chest, you're stretching your glutes and your hip joint as you're pulling it in. Okay, so then I always like to, rather than just, you know, stick the other leg back out because it's stressful on your back, even though you guys are, you know, pretty fit and flexible. If someone's doing this for the first time, bring the knee back in and then drop the other knee down. And get the other side. Yep, and then pull it in. Good. Do you guys feel a stretch?
Yes.
I was going to say, because you definitely should, especially because you guys work out, so I know there's some, there's some tightness. All right, so now take that leg that's pulled in and gently drop it over to the opposite side. Okay, so the top leg is bent, top knee is bent, and then you're opening up the opposite shoulder and trying to keep it on the ground and turning your head towards that opposite shoulder. Good, now if you want to increase that stretch, you're going to take the top leg, straighten out the knee, and bring it sliding across the floor closer to the opposite hand. And keep turning the opposite way with your head and keeping the opposite shoulder down. Okay, so that's you should feel a stretch in your back and your trunk, your hips, and straighten that thing out the leg. Do you feel it along the lateral thigh, like the outside of the thigh? Yeah, because that'll get a little bit of your glute and your iliotibial band.
And this always bothers me here.
Bothers you here?
Yes.
That's probably where you hold a lot of your tightness. Yeah. The ITB stretch you're going to do on the wall will probably be great for you.
It always bothers me. Not every single time.
Yeah. So this is going to loosen it. Everything we just did so far is really going to loosen it up. Now, while your foot is here, if you pull your toes up towards you, you're going to feel even more stretch. It's going to pull in your calf. Feel it? Mm-hmm. It's like amazing. Just a little tiny bits of motion that we do. You know, yeah, right? And it's you know, when you stretch, you want it to be uncomfortable. Not painful, but uncomfortable. Right. And I hold stretches a long time. Like, I'll put music on in the background and I'll just stretch. But even if you just hold it as long as you can and you run through each one of them, or you do, 30 seconds, 5 to 10 times, and then switch to the next one, it's still better than doing nothing. So now to bring the leg back, you don't want to pick the leg up and hurl it over because it's stress on your back. So you always want to just bend it, shorten that lever, bring it back. Let's have you guys drop over to the other side so you guys can get both sides. So drop over, So I want you guys to get something out of it too. Yeah, you're gonna see one side's probably tighter than the other. That's what happened to me too, Danielle. I don't know if you guys can see it on the video, but when I went to one side, when I go to my left, my right shoulder stays down better, and when I go to my right, my left shoulder pops up. And I know why, because I hold my bag more on my right side, so I'm rotated and turned like this more, so I have more mobility that way. But now there's imbalance, so I'm always trying to, think, okay, let me switch sides, put my bag on my other side. And that stuff does play into stretching. You guys can even tune into it. Do you always carry your bag on one side? Start carrying it on the other side. Best thing you can do is get a bag that goes across your body and hangs on your head. That's the best thing that you could possibly do. But you have to keep switching sides, and you'll see a difference. Okay, so bend that knee, come on back to the center. Do our trunk rotation. Okay, so while we're down here, let's do our glute stretch where you cross over. And then there's two ways to do this. You're gonna cross the knee, one knee over the other knee, right? Grab behind the bottom thigh. Bend this leg. A lot of people do this, which is fine, but you're stretching your hamstring. If you do this, you're gonna stretch more hamstring, you're not gonna feel it as much here. Okay, because your hamstring is limiting how much you can pull it in. Okay, so bend it, grab behind the bottom thigh, and then the force is from that bottom thigh, head and shoulders down, and you're pulling those knees into your chest. You guys have to feel it, right? Okay, because all the squats and jumping and running and everything that we do. Okay, so you really have to pull it in and really hold it. If you want to change it a little bit now where you're going to feel the outside of that thigh again, then you can make it wide. So take it into this position. Okay, so you went from like we're crossing sitting at a table, and then to opening it up. Now reach in, grab behind the bottom thigh, and pull it in. And it's going to feel a little different. You're going to feel it more from that spot, Vip, that you said, right? From your hip out to the side, yeah. A little more lateral out to the side of your thigh as opposed to right directly in the glute. Okay, and then switch sides. Start with crossing them over the regular way, pull it in. Good. The force is always from back here. You really feel it into the glute. You feel it right in here. Yeah, and then as soon as you open it back up again, and then pull in, and you're gonna feel more lateral into the glute. Oh my gosh, it feels so good. All right, awesome. So then uncross them, bend your knees, let's sit up. Do your hamstring stretch. Okay, you guys want to avoid this stuff. Yeah.
I was told that by the pediatrician.
To avoid it.
One of my daughters.
Yeah, because kids dump themselves. Yeah, which is like,
really bad.
you gotta break them out of it because of their knees. This isn't even great. We're gonna do the child pose after, but you wanna do it just for a short period of time. Let's do hamstrings first. So this is the simplest way to do it. You bend one knee. You can do both knees, but you're not gonna get as far, which is okay. So doing both is a good way to challenge also. But if you wanna just focus on one, your toes are up, knee is straight up, pull your toes up, and the key is leaning straight ahead. You all do this. That's stretching your back, low back. So that's okay to get your low back as long as you have your hands supported. You never want to dangle the weight of your body, so you want to have your hands supported. But to hit your hamstrings in the back, toes up, let your hands relax, and lean straight forward like there's a string pulling you to the wall. The more you stick out your chest, the more you're going to feel it in the back of the hamstring. Yep. And then let your hand just relax on your thigh. Yeah. Because you don't want any pressure of your back, the weight of your body pulling your back. These are crucial. Your hamstrings insert right into your butt bone. Okay, that's where they go into. So when your hamstrings are tight, that directly affects your back. The first thing I tell people when their backs, low backs bother them, stretch your hamstrings. And they're like, why? I don't understand. I'm like, so I explain it. And then when they start doing it, it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, there's a few stretches you should do that are going to affect your pelvis. We'll talk as we do our quads and different things. But if you do nothing else and you get a tight back, stretch your hamstrings. That's the only thing you do that. And then as time goes on, you'll be able to pull your toes up, you'll be able to pull more in, but you can just actively pulling them up, you feel that stretch. And then switch sides. So you feel the stretch in the muscle. What this also does is it stretches our fascia. So your fascia is just the connective tissue between your skin and your muscles. Okay, so a lot of times what happens is that gets bound that needs to be loose so your skin can move. Your skin has to be able to move over your muscles. Like when you grab your skin, it has to be able to move. That's just your fascia is letting it move. When that gets all bound down, it can't move. So when you're trying to move around, if the fascia is really tight, that's also limiting your motion, and you can end up pulling muscles. That kind of makes sense. That's why I'm such a that's why I tell everybody, like, go get a massage, go get a massage, go get a massage. Someone's got to get in there and mash it up. And most of the time, when those things start, unless you actually injure yourself and realize you just did something right there, if it's over time and you're waking up and things are achy and things are stiff, it's usually muscle tightness and the fascia's tight. You need to stretch and get a massage and continually stretch. And if that doesn't help, then see what's happening. Maybe something really wrong, Okay, but at least for everybody in here, because you guys are all tightening up your muscles working out, so, all right. So you got both sides, so you balanced out a little bit, okay. So then your adductors, your inner thighs, 2 ways we can do them, right? When you bring the soles of the feet together, you grab above the ankles. Anytime you're grabbing your body to stretch or do something, you always want to be above or below the joint. So like above the joint here. You don't want to grab on the joint because there's open space there. You can get injured. So above. But I know a lot of us sit here at the end of the session and we're like, I'm going to get coffee, everyone's chatting, right? But make sure you pull them in as close as you can, and then keep your shoulders always down and back, right? It's really easy to do like this. And then take your elbows and just push them into your thigh. This is what you should feel when you're doing this at the end. Okay? And really opening up your hips. And then obviously bringing them out this way too. And it's the same thing, to really stretch the whole inner thigh. Keep your hands here or here. Your chest is, shoulders are back and your chest is lifted. So lean forward. You're gonna feel it open up in here, tremendous amount. Doesn't mean you can't go like this, but that's just pulling your low back in with it. So I would get as far as you can here, get a really good stretch. And then if you want to add your back in, you can round down a little bit, but make sure you're getting it here first so you're stretching the correct part. Okay, your hands are supported somewhere, and as time goes on, believe me, I'm not that flexible. You can pull your toes up into it too, and that's gonna even. And even again, if you just actively pull your toes up and lean forward, feel it. Stretching as much as you can in one shot, right? Get the most bang for your buck, because I know we're all trying to squeeze this in. And obviously, you're not gonna have to. If you could do all this every day, awesome. But if not, if you stretch a couple of these stretches one day, a couple the other day, a couple the other day, a couple the other day, just to stay flexible. If something area is really tight or bothering you, then focus on that one. And then our hip flexors. So I'm trying to make sure that we do more of this. So if this isn't a great position for your knee, don't do it, because we're going to do one standing up with our quads. But if you can get your legs as far apart as you can, and your weight is on that front heel, most of your weight's on that front heel, not jammed back on your kneecap. Whenever we're down in this position, you don't want your weight jammed back, because your kneecap floats. So it doesn't want to be pressured and pushed all sides to side, okay? But then you stay lifted, straight, almost leaning back a little bit, and then just shift your weight. That knee still stays over the ankle like we do with our lunges and everything else, and it opens up that back hip. You feel it? Doesn't it feel so good? Good. Now, if you find a position you want to get crazy, again, if your knee is okay, I almost can't even come up from this. So if you hold down here and grab that back leg. So if you lean forward, you can get the back leg usually. Can you grab it back? Grab it with the... No?
No. I couldn't even lift it.
You can lift it. That's tightness. You didn't get too loosened up. Stay there for a second, because I'm going to come do it on you. Just gently. You guys switch sides.
Okay.
Feel it?
I'm gonna fall over if I go to do that.
Oh, if you go to do it, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you guys how to do this laying on your side and also standing up. This is probably the most stressful position, but it feels like the funkiest. So just
I don't have the balance.
switch to the other side and just get the other hand. And again, you should only feel uncomfortable pulling, stretching, not pain. And if any of your joints are hurting when you do this, that's when you guys need to talk to me so I can figure out why your joints are hurting. And if I don't know why your joints are hurting, then I'm going to send you to the doctor. But a lot of times it could just be that you're doing it incorrectly or you have tightness somewhere else that's not letting you do this. Good. Now, Vic, stay there, but lean your trunk back. Lean your back back. It's going to open up your back hip more. There you go. Good. And then what you guys can do, you can also do this sideline. This is probably good for you. If it's hard to reach back when you're in that position or when you're standing up and doing your and stretching your quads, you can come down to the pillow or something. So I always put my arm out so my head is like kind of straight. And then, if it's too hard to grab it back here, you can grab it here. You can grab it in front of you. Just make sure I can see that. Grab it in front of you, and then pull it back to wherever you're comfortable. And you're trying to keep your back, low back, kind of straight. You don't want to be arching, because then you're just pulling it back. Keep your back kind of straight, and open up the head. That's a good stretch there, too. And this is a position that's a little bit, easier to grab it and get it. So flip over, try the other side. Same thing, your head should always be supported. Again, you can grab it in front here. I work with a lot of older people, so a lot of times they can't grab back there, so I show them this one to start to get it straight up. I'm older too, they're older than us. They're older than us if you can believe that. And if you think about your parents and your grandparents, or if you are a grandparent or an older parent, when people retire, they start to sit around a lot more. So you start to see in older people as they get into their 80s and 90s, and they're sitting a lot more. There's so much tightness here, they can't even get there. So you could just teach your parent or your grandparent this simple stretch. That's going to help them be able to stand and walk better. Okay, good. Let's see, are we still down here? Oh yeah, the child's pose, I do like for 2 reasons. Because it does stretch your back in a little bit different position. Knee people should not do this. If you have knee pain, I would not do this position, because you're just forcing down into the knee joint. Or, if it doesn't hurt, I would do it quickly, okay? But I like it because if you get your arms straight out, you get a really good stretch in your lats. Okay, and again, if this hurts your shoulder, obviously you're not going to do it. This is pretty big range of motion. But if you get the hands as far out as you can, and your elbows are close to your ears, and then very gently just try to bring your nose a little bit closer, try to bring your chest and everything a little bit closer to the floor, and really feel the stretch in here and open up the shoulder. Feel it? Mm-hmm. So we don't really get our arms all the way up over our head in this position for any reason, unless it's an exercise that you're doing, but you don't do it really functionally. Now while we're down here, what I also like to do, and you guys know this one, keeping your chest flat on your thighs, bring both hands over to one side. So now you're over either the left thigh or the right thigh, and you're gonna feel really good. So I'm over the left thigh, so I'm feeling a really good stretch in my right shoulder and my right lats. And then walk your hands over to the other side and try it, yeah? And then just sink into it. And you're gonna feel most of the time, one side is gonna be tighter than the other. That's normal. It's normally abnormal, I should say, because we do activities throughout the day and we use certain sides of our bodies more than others. But again, when there's more tightness on one side than the other, you're imbalanced. You're setting yourself up for injury. So come back to the center. Good, and then we make our way out to lay down on your stomach. And then just gently coming up. This position, if you have a herniated disc, obviously you have to be diagnosed by the doctor, don't just start running around and doing this. But I'm just saying, this can help your body absorb the disc, depending on how herniated it is. That's why you don't do it with a herniated disc unless you talk to me or talk to your doctor. But this actually brings your vertebrae together to absorb the disc. And we don't really get into this position that much. So this is like a really good position to get into and to stretch out. It's really good if your discs are healthy and there's no issues in there. It's a good position to get in because your discs, they do slide a little bit posteriorly, which is how herniated disc usually happens. This kind of like sets them into alignment, pushes them forward a little bit, gives them like a little bit of relief. So a lot of times when people have herniated discs, if it's really a true herniated disc causing the problem, we get them into this position, they hold it here. If they have numbness or pain or anything down their legs, if it's really the disc causing the problem, that pain will go away. They'll stay here, I'll just say stay there, and they'll actually travel up their leg and come out. because the disc is going back, so it's pretty cool. It's a pretty good position.
We used to watch TV like this.
I know, we put nothing up. We were kids and we were so flexible, like I can't stay there that long, because my back was stiffing up in that direction. Ashley can still do it, because Ashley's 18?
Yeah.
18. She can still stay here for hours. All right, oh, and now just roll over. Go this way. Or just roll over onto your back. And let's do the total opposite direction. So get your shoulders up over your head, and you can let your back arch here. Back and arch, point your toes. I reach through the fingertips and I point my toes down and get a really good, like almost like a contraction, and then just totally let everything relax. Let your legs just drop open, let your feet relax. Yep, you can do that like 3 or 4 times. Let's do it one more time. Let's reach through the fingers, point through the toes, get as long and tall as you can, and then just totally relax everything and just let it relax. After all the ab crunches we do, planks, Russian twists, everything we're doing, this stretches out the whole front of your trunk now. We always worry about the back, but what about your abs? And just stretching them out, right? It totally stretches them out. And then if you really wanted to, you could keep your arm, take your left arm, and you're gonna reach it down towards your left hip, okay? And the other arm you can just kind of bring to the top of your head. And if you kind of reach towards that way, it's hard to explain. So you're kind of reaching like this. Just kind of reaching like a side bend. You can do it up here, but if you do it down there, try to side bend a little bit. You guys probably move like that. You feel it all up the right side? Yeah. So they're doing this, but they're doing it laying down. And you can do it up here too. We'll do it up here too. And then go back to the other side. And then reach the other arm down to the other side. And that arm that's up by your head, you can just do whatever you want with that. All right, so go this way. And the nice thing is you're nice and supported because you're laying on the floor. So you don't have to worry about holding your body weight anywhere else. You can really notice all you really feel is that area, right? Because everything else is relaxed on the floor. That opens up your trunk too from your abs. All right, so let's sit up before we come up. Again, you could be here, you could be here, but if you're okay in this position, you can also do it standing, but we'll just do it because we're here. Right, you can do that same exact thing. Just reach. I would take a hand behind your head. You're not rotating or anything, you're just literally reaching sideways. Down towards your opposite head. Oh, and that, I feel that here a lot too. Okay. And then the opposite side. So pretty much what you just did, but it's a side bend. You're side bending, not rotating. Awesome. All right, so let's come up. We did our quads, we did side lying, right? We were laying down. So if you need to hold the wall or hold the bar, you can. Okay? Same thing, you can come here if you need to, and then bring it back. The key here is keeping your knees pretty close together, grabbing above the ankle, so you're not on the ankle joint. If you pull your toes like up, or in this position, they're down to the floor, and then kind of pull the heel to your butt, keep your knees together, and push your hip forward a little bit. And keep your low back straight. Feel it? You should feel it all the way down, even across the knee. Good, and then switch sides. Same thing, right above the ankle, pull the toes down, knees together, push your hip forward. The most important thing is the stretch, so if you need to hold on, just hold on. Good. All right, and then our calf. Calves are hugely important because it's very easy to hurt them. So get your feet, the simplest way is feet apart as far as you can and still stay balanced. You can kind of stagger them. They don't have to be like straight in front of each other. You can stagger it, okay? The reason you want to get them as far apart as possible is you want to keep the back heel flat on the floor, the front toes straight ahead. If you need to hold on, you can hold on too. Okay? And the reason is you're just gonna shift your weight. So just shift your weight a little bit, keep your heel flat. You still don't want that front knee to go over the toes. So we have to keep thinking about our form. So if people do it really short here and they do this, they're gonna hurt their knee. And they're probably not even feeling a stretch. So just get out there. If you have to hold on, you should feel a really good stretch if you're keeping it flat. Now, if you want to focus more on the inside, because your gastroc, your calf, you have two calf muscles, but your gastroc is the one on the outside with the two big muscles that you see. So if you want to focus more on now stretching the outer part, so say this is giving you more trouble. Like I run, so I get really sore in here. So what you would just do here is you would turn your foot in a little bit, as long as your knee is okay. Turn your foot in a little bit and lean forward, and you'll feel it more towards the outside. You can do this on a step too, and you feel it the most on a step. So if you have like stairs at home and you just hang, you stand and you hang that one off. And then if you want to feel more on the inside, you don't feel it so much from here. You'll feel it on a step. You can try it and just lean forward. You still got to get the forward, kind of rolling your foot out a little bit, and then rolling it in a little bit. That's easier on the step, a little bit harder. So get the other side. But to get the whole muscle itself, just have the toes straight ahead, heel flat. And then I don't want to forget here, so same thing, you can roll out a little bit. Roll in a little bit. You know what? You actually feel it a little bit more. I've done it in a while. Keep your foot straight ahead, heel flat, and then just roll the foot out. Like roll, like yeah, and keep this toe straight. I actually feel it more that way. And then you can roll the arch in a little bit. And then to get the muscle, there's two calf muscles. Your soleus is the muscle that's deep underneath. It lies deep underneath. They both attach into your Achilles. So to get that, just knock out the gastroc, drop that back knee a little tiny bit, bend your back knee a little bit, keep the heel flat. You're gonna feel it lower down. Yeah, so that is not stretching the gastroc as much. It's stretching the soleus more. Good. It wouldn't be great if you had all this time to stretch it. All right, so chest, I'm going to show you with balls too, because they're great just to open up here if you come in and you warm up quick and you want to grab a physio ball. But for your chest, just shoulders back and down, right? Clasp the hands behind the back, press it out. We all know that. Okay. If you want to make that a little bit with a little bit more force, you can actually take your hands behind your back like this. Shoulders are back and down. Actually, not on your spine, but right here on the bony part of your pelvis. Okay, keep your back nice and straight, and then just kind of push your fingers in. And try to bring your shoulder blades are down and back. Try to bring your elbows together. Feel it open this up. Gives it a little more of a stretch there. Let me grab. I'm gonna grab some balls. I just want you guys to feel the chest stretch over the balls. And if you don't have balls, you can do this on the edge of your bed. Yes, you're gonna bounce. You can do this on the edge of your bed, but it is something you guys can do here because we have balls. But I love stretching over this because again, we're always trying to get extension, right? Trying to improve this because everything we do is out here in front of us. So if you're on the ball, you guys are all pros at the ball, so I'm not worried about that. Right? Just come down and let your head and shoulders just drop over it. So you're actually like looking at the window, you're looking at the wall behind you. Again, if there's no neck pain, no neck injuries. All right, and now drop your arms straight out to the side. Okay, you're gonna feel some stretch in your chest. I know I do because I know I'm tight in front. And then you can hold it here for whatever, 30 seconds, and then slowly move your arms up. Move them up a few inches towards your ears, towards the back wall. So more like this. Yeah. And then you can take them in little increments, and the further you get up, you're gonna feel more, it's gonna be harder to get those arms back. Okay, because it's just working different parts of the pecs, different parts of the muscles. Okay, shoulder people, that might bother you, so you're obviously not gonna do it. And then if you bring your hands behind your head and just let your elbows drop open, you'll feel that too. Your head and neck are relaxed. Feel it a lot, right? You can do this off the edge of your bed. Just have your, your shoulder blades supported on the bed and let your head hang off and let your arms hang up over. Okay? All right, so come up nice and easy. I just like that one to mimic for the bed because it's just so much more than this. This we don't feel as much.
Oh, this one?
Which one?
I always do like the chest stretch. Like when you do like a row and then open up, because you feel it right in here.
Yeah, so what do? You
Like you're gonna do an upright row and then you just open.
oh yeah. And is what, if your shoulders are okay, that's gonna stretch out part of your rotator cuff too. Just opening it back, that external rotation. Okay, where are we? Upper back, shoulders. We pretty much did that. But you know what you can also do? You can also, we did that when we did the child's pose. This way, this stuff, right? Anything like this, we grab above the, below the wrist and reach over that way and pull up and out, pull up and across here. So when we're going like this, you want to pull straight out and across. And keep your chest facing forward. So your chest is straight. So if you do this, you're rotating, you're stretching your tongue. Keep it straight and pull across. Feel the difference? Yeah, so you do it again. You're going to keep your trunk straight. Grab above your wrist. Yep. Pull straight out and then pull the arm across. Right or left? You're going to the right. You're not moving your trunk, you're just moving your arm. Yeah. Feel it a little more?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. That wrist is crucial. Don't pull, do not pull here on your hand. You got a bunch of little bones in here. Everybody does. So it's not like you're supposed to, it's common knowledge. That's what I'm here to try to help you. And then you can also do it like on a pole. So if you guys want to like grab the pole, see if I can flip it around. So if you have like even just a doorway, you can do it here with me, Ash, if you want. I'm just gonna come down only so they can see me. But if you just stick your hand on the inside of the doorway and lean straight back. Again, keep your chest facing the pole. Lean straight back so you pull that shoulder blade kind of forward. And then I'm just gonna turn my trunk into it. It's gonna do the same thing you just did, but you have more force from the pole. Try that. So you face the pole. Yep, face the pole, so you're straight like this, you lean it straight back. Okay, already feel stretch back here, right? And then if you just turn into it, turn into it. You're gonna feel it more. That's the quickest, best way to get it. Here you can only pull so much. And then switch sides. So you can do that in the doorway. You all have a doorway, so you can just move the doorway. And then you can also, you guys like this stretch, right? That opens up the chest and moves it up. So you can do that in the doorway too, so you can do that on the pole. So if you just come here, I'm gonna come down just so they can see me. You put your arm on the doorway there, and you lean in. So try that. You can do it standing or being down. You can have my pole if you want. Yeah, because I don't think you'll be able to do it there. Come here, because you have to actually get past the doorway. You can take my pole if you want. Yep, so bring your body even past the pole a little bit, so your body's gonna be inside the doorway. Take a step out to the left. You're in a good spot, yep. Right here, and then just lean straight in. And if that's too much, you can always bring it down a little bit, and lean straight in. And if you have a narrower or a doorway, where your shoulders can feel both sides, you can just kind of get in both doorways and open it up. So that's how it helps. But you get so much, such a more of a stretch with it when you start using some of these little things, you know? I mean, this is great to do quick and stuff, but, you literally take 60 seconds if you're tight and you feel like you need to stretch out. You feel like that conforms perfect.
So it's a good one for right here.
For your low back?
Yeah.
The best one for your low back is hamstring
Okay.
and the child pose, because that rounded out, and when we laid with both knees to your chest, and then one knee to your chest.
Okay.
And then the rotation also. That's gonna get it to both most. But if you feel straight tightness through here, it's usually hamstrings, and your hip flexors. The more you loosen that up, because the hip flexor attaches in the front, hamstring attaches in the back. They're both onto your pelvis. So this one's pulling your pelvis this way. This one's pulling your pelvis this way. There's like this fight going on. So your pelvis is just trying to stay neutral, and it can't. So that's when you start feeling like, oh, like doing little things, just trying to move the right way and not letting it. Triceps, because whenever you stretch something, you're doing the exact opposite of what the muscle does, right? So our triceps, when we're working our triceps, we're extending in here, right? So I'm going to use up here just for an example. So if we're here and we're doing an overhead extension, we're extending our elbow, right? Straightening our elbow. So how are we going to stretch it? We get bend the elbow. That's why we come here, grab below the elbow, and pull it back. Because it shortens when we extend it, working, and then it lengthens as we stretch it. Can you see that? Because if you have that vision in your head, you can stretch anything. So your biceps, same thing. Your biceps are curling and shortening here, right? So to straighten it, to stretch it, we have to extend it. Okay, so that's why I'm just coming straight back. I'll usually do shoulders down and back. I'll usually just kind of do both. Let my head drop down and pull your fingertips up to the top, up to the ceiling. Do you feel it? Feel it too, Beck? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you pull your hand up, which is down towards the floor. Down towards the floor. See, I'm so backwards. I thought you had them up, but see the difference now? Yeah, because now you're doing this. You're lengthening everything in your forearm too. And our neck. Oh, precious little neck. So standing, sitting doesn't matter any position you want to be in. But shoulders back and down. Okay? Just gently dropping your shoulder, because your neck moves, one way your neck moves is side bending, side to side. So gently dropping your ear to your shoulder. You don't want to do this, because then you're just moving your trunk, right? So drop it down and think of taking the opposite hand and reaching it out to the ground. If you're sitting in a chair, you can hook it at the bottom of the chair, you can hook it onto your leg, whatever you want to do. Now, if you stay here, that's stretching your upper trap. If you stay here, keep your hand on your head, and I want you to turn and look over the opposite side of your chest. You're looking right straight down. Like your nose should be lined right up on the nipple line. Okay? And then you're going to shift your hand to the back of your head. Okay, make sure you're on your skull and gently pull down. You should feel it from the base of your neck down to the top of your shoulder blade on the opposite side. If you don't feel it, you need to just, rotate your head a little bit until you find the right exact spot. That's a huge muscle that gets super, super tight. We're all getting neck pain and all the lifting and stuff we're doing all day. So then bring it back to the center, go to the other side. Usually one side's tighter than the other, again, right in balance. Keep your trunk nice and straight. And the same thing, you're gonna shift. You're gonna rotate your head, look right over the nipple line, where on the bony part, right behind your head, and gently pull it down. You don't want to be yanking on your neck, just very gently pull it down. You feel it to the top, the base of the skull, down into the top of your shoulder blade. Good. And then just your straight, you get in that little groove in the back of your skull, and just your very straight, putting a little pressure on the back of the groove. You can't see because of my hair, but just very gently, you can almost kind of lift in that position and pull your chin to your chest. So stay there for a second. Yes, you're in that bony, right? Bony part. Where you can almost even lift. Get your fingers in there, almost like lift, go straight up, and then pull it down. I feel it even more. I'm getting it really technical, right? You're in the bony part. So if you get here, and you almost kind of lift up a little, and then pull down. Oh, I feel that. In that little area, that little bony area in there, there's a bunch of little muscles in there too that when they get tight, they cause headaches, they get havoc. So when people start getting headaches and they think it's muscular, same thing as they go to PT or go for a massage and make sure that they get into all those little guys. And then even looking up, because how often do we look at the ceiling? Unless we're laying down on the floor in boot camp doing something, right? We really don't. So I always say keep your fingers, and you can just go this way, it's fine. If you're gonna be a little gentler, just keeping your fingers in that groove and letting your head just roll back on it. So we're actually looking in every direction, right? and then turning and looking over your shoulder. Because we don't always do that either. We drive, well, if you still drive and don't use the backup camera like me, you actually look over your right side. Sometimes I look just to make sure nothing's behind me, but I still go like old school, like I gotta look over my shoulder and see if anybody's there. I just have to, it's never gonna change. I'm sure you are raised with a backup camera, you do not look over your shoulder, right? Right. Just think about how to look over our shoulder. But that being said, we all look over our shoulders to the right, so think about it. I mean, I don't always like put listen to functional stuff, but that could be a reason alone. If you drive a lot, then you're more tight on this side because you're constantly back here. And now you can't turn and look at the other side, right? And as we get older, a lot of times people start walking very cautiously, right? Because they're afraid to fall, and they stop rotating, and now all of a sudden they're trying to drive and they can't, because you're not teaching 90-year-olds today. Well, no offense, 90-year-olds, maybe you are using backup cameras. I'm 49 and I can't use one, but you know, you gotta be able to turn your head, you know, to look. So that's it. That gives us oh, the iliotibial band. One more time, come on over to the wall. Do you mind being in it? You guys okay being in it? You don't have to. You can use the pole if you want. Okay. But I know there are 8 million Facebook. You know, 8 million Facebook posts with me, all of you. All right. So you actually have to come sideways. So let's all face that way. Yep. The leg you're stretching is the right leg. Okay. So you're gonna get it out. Let's start with it out like maybe a foot from the floor. 10 inches, foot from the floor. Okay. That foot's gonna stay flat. You know what? You guys back up. I'll be coming front, because then you'll see me and you guys will each see me. Okay? So this foot's flat, okay? You're taking the left leg and crossing it over the front, just to position it, just to put it somewhere. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna stick this hip into the wall. Doesn't have to touch it, okay? You just have to stick it in. And when you're doing that, you're pushing the right arch of the right foot flat down into the ground. So the arch is flat down, the hip is towards the wall, and you're gonna side bend and lean out this way a little bit. If you don't feel it, you need to get the right leg, the back leg, further away from the wall. Okay? Yup, you might need to get it further away from the wall. Now lean that hip back in. Yup, so you're pushing this down and that there. Feel it? Mm-hmm. You feel it? Mm-hmm. You feel it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and your arch wants to lift up, so stay. Okay, now lean in. Feel it more? Yeah. Yeah, so you have to forcefully push that arch down. So flip around and try the other side. And that's one of the best ones when you're feeling it here. Because that goes up from your pelvis and directly affects your knee. So all the lateral stuff we do, runners, we get super tight with this stuff. That's a great place. It's a painful place to get massaged, but you can massage it yourself. That's the beauty. You know, you can sit in a chair and I'll sit in a chair and I'll get some lotion after like I take a shower or something and just strum it. You get all in here, especially if you get knee pain and stuff like that. This actually, when this gets real tight, it pulls our kneecaps laterally outward a little bit, and you can start mashing this up and your whole knee can move better. So that's just another really good one for overall. Any questions? Did I miss any stretching, anything?
I was going to ask you something.
Sure.
I forgot what it was.
I'm sorry. You should have learned that. Was it just recent?
Oh, no, I think I know what it was. When we were on the floor,
Okay. Yeah, show me this.
my tendency is when we're here stretching, I always did this. Is that wrong?
Well, it's not wrong, but just from a physical therapy perspective, because I'm always looking at body mechanics, you never want to like be forcing your knee this way. Because it's a lot of pressure it's basically over pressure, over flexing and bending your knee. You should be behind the thighs.
Here too. I never thought to have them like this though.
And you need more stretch.
Yeah, this feels better.
Yeah, because what you're actually stretching in that position, so she's on her back, what you're actually stretching here is your hips, right, and your glutes. So you want to be on the femur. You want to be on this bone. When you're here, you're just jamming see how I'm just jamming my knee. So here you're gonna feel it a lot more. It should always be under. Yeah, it should always be under. Most people don't know that, unless, you know, coaches are practicing that. If you don't have knee pain, you may not have knee pain, it'll be fine.
No, but it feels better. It also feels better on my back when I do it that way. It feels like I'm flattening my back.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, because you're getting more stretch.
Too. Yeah.
You're able to actually get the hip in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you only want to be on the surface that you're actually stretching. So
And then what was the other one when we were?
Good morning. Hi,
The
Jen.
other option of this was the crossover.
Was a crossover, yeah?
Yeah.
So there you feel it more.
Yeah.
So what Vic's doing is the one when we cross over like this, right? Where we're actually like crossing over like we're sitting at the dinner table, right? Grab behind the thigh, pull it in. Okay, you can have your head and shoulders flat. You don't have to bring them up. You feel more deep in the glute.
That feels good where it
Right.
bothers me.
Yeah, and piriformis, you have a muscle that lies in there right over the sciatic nerve. You're stretching it. And now when you open it up this way, you're pulling more of your lateral thigh.
Right.
Your glute also, but not as isolated. It's more isolated. Perfect, right?
I know, this is both ways.
And you need it both for that.
Yeah,
Get that
it feels
stiffness
so
out
good.
there. Anything else?
You got nothing?
No. See it. Stretch those hamstrings. You got time for that. You guys got 10 minutes. What?
The hip one helps for, exactly helps for my hip.
This one?
Yeah.
This one's been really helping you? Yeah, she gets bursitis. Bursitis is just, bursts are just fluid-filled sacs that you have between your joints. And so they absorb the friction in your joint, and they absorb the shock, and sometimes they get aggravated, they get angry. And they're really hard to calm down. Because every time you move, you're rubbing on that fluid-filled sac, that's what its job is. So you've maintained it a lot because you stretch. You stretch and you strengthen. That's why people shouldn't be afraid to come and exercise. You know what I mean? When they have bursitis, so they have joint pain or problems. Because if you just learn how to work around it, you stretch and strengthen. And it's so funny because, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this woman in years, and I don't even know if she still lives out on Long Island, but Marge Sherwin was one of my very first, her and Cheryl Gillespie were my first physical therapy teachers when I first went to Suffolk for physical therapy assistant. And Marge had her own outpatient practice. And I just remember her, we were brand new in learning in the field, and I remember her just saying, if a muscle's tight, stretch it. If a muscle's weak, strengthen it. Stretch a tight muscle, strengthen a weak muscle, and you'll cure almost any, basic orthopedic ailment. You know what I mean? As opposed to, obviously a straightforward injury, but what's coming from muscle tightness and muscle imbalance. And it's so true. And that's what you guys are doing. You're stretching, you stretch more on your own than you ever did. You're at least stretching in here.
Oh, yeah.
And you're strengthening. And it's like those two things, and look what starts to happen. The injuries start to flare up less, Because you have a tight little back also.
Yeah, my daughter and I.
Yeah, and Christina did too, but it's been better, right?
Unfortunately, she went to the hospital recently.
She did at the school?
She's having a hard time with her back.
But it's all muscle tightness,
Yeah.
right?
I'm just gonna come back and get some tests and probably
Okay.
do PT.
She's
Which
got to
is
stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got to stretch. And there's a lot of good places around here, obviously, too. But if you can get her to Matt and Maria Deegan in Huntington, I'll do that on her. She's gonna do some physical therapy.
Yeah.
Maybe she. Oh, you told her this was on, so maybe she could take her.
She's probably sleeping right now.
But it's gonna be safe.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she's still on the VIP. So, Christina, if you do well, you're in college. You probably had a lot of fun last night.
I was gonna say.
And you're probably very relaxed right now after all the fun last night, so it might be a really good time to stretch. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you all. I will save this here. It'll be under videos. Thank you guys for coming out, because we didn't know if it was going to just be me and Ashley this morning, so it's so happy that you came out. We had people with us. Yeah, thank you. Everybody stretch. Everybody stretch.
I signed up online.
You did? For this? Oh, good. It's working.
It was your last night.
That's okay, because you know what? It was working. It